The city of Vancouver is located in the Canadian province of British Columbia. The population, as determined by the 2016 Canadian census, is extremely diverse, with over 630,000 people. Over 260,000 of these residents are immigrants, with a significant portion of this population originating from China, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. As stated by Encyclopedia Britannica, the area that would become Vancouver was solely inhabited by Native Americans until the year 1827. It was in the year 1827 that the Hudson Bay Company set up the Fort Langley trading post at the mouth of the Fraser River. In the late 1850s, the town of Westminster, now a suburb of Vancouver, was established and attracted thousands of Californian gold miners during the gold rush because of its proximity to the Caribou Mountains. Vancouver's first economically significant industry was sawmilling in the 1870s. Following a devastating fire in 1886, the city rebuilt and moved on to become a prosperous port city due to the opening of the Panama Canal. The economy was now dominated by the exportation of lumber and grain. The post-World War II era saw Vancouver morph into Canada's main business hub for trading with Asia and the Pacific. Today, Vancouver's economy is supported by tourism, mining, and forestry, as well as global trade and exports. The city is also a technological hub and a center for the film industry. Vancouver is a large cosmopolitan city with a diverse set of economic activities, meaning it has the potential to contribute massively to climate change, whether that be in a positive or negative way. Thankfully, Vancouver has decided that it wants to help in a positive way, developing an extensive 80-page sustainability plan to be achieved by 2020. Created in 2012, the end goal of the Greenest City 2020 Action Plan, as seen in massive bold lettering across the second page, is to become the greenest city in the world by 2020. The plan's vision is to create opportunities, build a strong local economy, and develop diverse, vibrant communities for current and future generations. According to the plan itself, it was created to build upon the work of the 2009 Greenest City Action Team, a group of people under the mayor at the time that researched green initiatives and set out to create a number of goals and targets that would propel Vancouver to the forefront of the global green city movement. The robust plan consulted over 35,000 people from all over the world via social media and online or in-person workshops. An additional 9,500 Vancouver residents added their ideas and feedback, with many of them eager to implement it in their own backyards. This plan was developed in conjunction with over 120 organizations, 60 city government staff, thousands of residents, and thousands of others, making it as diverse as the people as it intended to serve. There is an intense focus on the local, as evidenced by the photos of local outreach activities throughout the plan, yet it was developed and implemented on a regional level, allowing it to have the resources required to make a far-reaching, long-lasting impact. One of the social initiatives that the City of Vancouver has developed according to the Vancouver 2020 Action Plan includes the building of parks in neighborhoods where green spaces such as these are not found as frequently. In regards to parks, the action plan states that these parks will include new pieces of art, water fountains, and trees that have just been planted. Vancouver's action plan also discusses how a desired outcome would be if they had local residents within the neighborhood getting involved in erecting these parks by giving them the opportunity to have a voice in the whole process. The City of Vancouver wants to make sure that these parks are only a 5-minute walking distance from residents' homes, which indicates that the city wants to make sure that individuals living within these neighborhoods that previously did not have many recreational areas such as parks are able to enjoy the creation of this initiative without placing a strain on one's capacity of potential financial constraints with having to travel, in addition to time constraints. Another social initiative that the 2020 Vancouver Greenest City Action Plan touches on pertains to food. For instance, one of the objectives of the action plan involves ensuring that people have access to local fresh food, and the way the City of Vancouver intends to do so is through setting a goal of making sure that all residents that live in Vancouver only have to walk 5 minutes to get access to these resources. This particular objective that the action plan takes into consideration indicates that the City of Vancouver demonstrates a sense of concern for the health and well-being of its citizens. The action plan also elaborates how the city wants to facilitate in creating businesses that offer local foods through a business incubator, which can potentially provide an increased access to local fresh foods, since more businesses could potentially open up when assisted by entities that can provide the financial resources to develop and manage these startup businesses. The city also wishes to spread awareness to its residents of the local fresh food events that occur throughout the city, suggesting that Vancouver's desires for its inhabitants to gain access to local healthier food options via sharing information and knowledge on sustainable methods of consumption based on the local options that are provided. Now, aside from social initiatives, the City of Vancouver has also developed some economic sustainability initiatives as well. According to their 2020 action plan, the city has placed its focus on creating a strong economy that incorporates Vancouver's environmental goals. For instance, one of the economic initiatives discussed included turning one part of Vancouver's known enterprise zones, known as the downtown east side, as well as False Creek Flats, into economic zones that are more environmentally friendly. This would involve taking a more innovative and green approach to designing buildings, in addition to establishing and inviting green infrastructures and companies that follow pro-environmental practices. The action plan also states that Vancouver desires to make these zones that are found within the city the world's best environmentally friendly business hubs, indicating how the City of Vancouver's emphasis on sustaining both a flourishing economy for its citizens without having to make compromises for the sake of economic prosperity that could be detrimental to the environment. Another economic sustainability initiative that the City of Vancouver is focusing on, according to their action plan, is creating a program that can assist businesses within the city to adopt more sustainable behavior with regards to reducing their waste production. For example, the plan hones in on making businesses become more environmentally friendly by assisting them in devising solutions that can help them manage their productivity practices and energy and water consumption more efficiently. Such an implementation of pro-environmental practices, in turn, also allow for businesses in the City of Vancouver to become more economically successful by saving money that would have gone to paying for waste disposal and paying bills for wasting more energy. With impending climate change in Vancouver comes many detriments to the environment, including increased smog, water shortages, forest fires, and intense rain events, all which lead not to just negative impacts on the environment, but economic damages to property and risks to human life as well. As the climate changes, particular wildlife can thrive and adapt, inadvertently leading to invasive species, which can also have devastating effects on Vancouver's ecosystem. For instance, Gail Whalen, an executive director of the Invasive Plant Council, states that one invasive plant named yellow start thistle can have a negative impact to native grasslands and horses in Vancouver. Therefore, there is an agency for action when considering the various detriments to the environment, the economy, and society. Vancouver's Greenest City Action Plan demonstrates as a bold initiative to address various environmental issues affecting the city and its citizens. Green buildings aim to reduce energy use and greenhouse gas emissions by 20%. Since buildings consume electricity and natural gas, buildings are responsible for 55% of Vancouver's greenhouse gas emissions. In order to update buildings' energy efficiency and reduce greenhouse gas emissions in both new and existing buildings, Vancouver tried to improve the green building design, energy efficiency appliances, and heating and lighting systems. In addition, Vancouver implemented a reward system in which citizens are rewarded if they build green buildings as well as renovate existing buildings, which are required to meet the building industry's leadership in energy and environmental design gold standard. Green transportation is designed to reduce the average distance driven per resident by 20% from 2007 levels. This program motivates citizens to choose active transportation, such as biking and walking. To make transit fast, frequent, reliable, and comfortable, Vancouver developed land use policies that enable the city to meet mobility and transportation targets. Also, improved pedestrian safety is achieved by implementing a pedestrian safety study and action plan. Their bike sharing program can also provide easy access to citizens to maneuver around the city on short trips without having to rely on their vehicles that can emit more carbons into the atmosphere. Zero Waste's objective aims to reduce waste going into landfills and incineration by 50%. It's important to solve the waste problem in the present because landfills could contaminate groundwater that could result in both short-term and long-term public health issues to Vancouver's residents. In addition, methane that is produced by organic waste is a potent greenhouse gas, and in conjunction with the transportation of this waste, these factors only exacerbate the production of greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere. One of the solutions the City of Vancouver conducted to tackle the waste concern was expanding the food scraps composting program for residents. Since recycling helps to reduce the pollution caused by waste, Vancouver promoted education and enforcement programs to keep recyclables out of the waste stream. This action can effectively raise citizens' awareness about the importance of recycling and waste reduction. Lastly, the implementation of access to nature programs were designed in order to expand the green spaces through planting 150,000 new trees in an attempt to expand forests in urban areas. Green spaces serve a significant role in greenhouse gas reduction as they help capture excess carbon leaking into the atmosphere within urban areas. In addition, these urban green spaces allow for decreased stormwater runoff due to an increase of pervious surfaces such as rain gardens that absorb excess flood or rainwater. Instances of implementing green spaces within the urban city of Vancouver in accordance to their Greenest City 2020 action plan can include not only creating more mini parks by converting street right-of-ways to parks, but creating parks in neighborhoods where they are deficient in quantity, and bikeways that have been updated into greenways. While Vancouver has proven itself to be an extremely sustainably driven city, one thing we would add to their sustainability plan is the implementation of sustainability education starting in the primary years. According to Child in the City, an organization consisting of experts that are dedicated to promoting the rights and well-being of children, when connecting a student's success and grades to teaching environmental sustainability, all parents have an interest in the subject. This proves that by educating the youth about sustainability, this may influence adults to do so as well. In addition, aside from starting education, exposure to sustainable behavior through creating field trips where children can actively learn about the environment and actively engage with it through pro-environmental activities can help to heighten the importance of sustainability at an early age. Ingraining ideas at a young age is important as it influences values and behaviors that are most important to individuals as adults when they eventually acquire an increased capacity to make a difference. Think about the things that you value most. It is probably something your parents began instilling in you from a young age. Beliefs and values, such as not engaging in delinquency and violence and treating others with equality and respect, are all things we learned in the very early stages of our lives. Now, imagine if we had kids as young as 5, learning the importance of having responsibility to care for the environment, to recycle, and learn how to make their own compost bins at home. Even correcting their parents when they litter or asking them to turn off the water when they brush their teeth. Children love to take what they learn at school and see how it changes their everyday life. That is why we should start investing in our children, who will play an imperative role in being the next generation that will be the proactive actors to shift current environmental issues towards a more sustainable future.